It was election night in Turkiye and the big headline is this: President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has lost. Now, just to be clear, the Turkish president was not on the ballot, but it's still as embarrassing. Let me tell you why. The elections were held for Turkiye's local bodies, a bit like the corporations and panchayats of India. Erdogan's party came in second. They got 35% of the votes. And who came first? Turkiye's main opposition party called CHP. They won 37% of the votes. Out of 81 provinces, the opposition secured 36, a resounding and stunning victory. As the results came in, celebrations began. Tens of thousands of supporters hit the streets of Turkiye. They danced and chanted slogans. Take a look at this. Experts are calling it a turning point, the biggest setback for Erdogan. And why is that? For starters, this has not happened in 2 decades. Erdogan came to power almost 21 years ago, and since then, his party has never been beaten. Never at the national level. But this time it happened. Erdogan's party lost. Secondly, there is a clear ideological divide here. Erdogan represents hardline Islamists. He has diluted Turkey's secularism. But the opposition CHP opposed this. They are bona fide secularists. So their victory has more than policy implications. It has cultural and ideological effects. And Erdogan realizes this. He has promised to introspect after the drubbing.
We will avoid being stubborn, acting against the national will and questioning the judgment of our nation, as we have done so far. We will take the necessary steps by analyzing the messages given by the nation at the ballot box most accurately and objectively, within the reason and in our inner conscience.
So Erdogan was a big loser. Now let me introduce the big winner, Ekrem İmamoğlu. He is a 53-year-old former businessman. Many think he could challenge Erdogan's rule. And their journeys are quite similar. Both men belong to the Black Sea region. They loved football and they both became mayors of Istanbul. İmamoğlu was elected mayor in 2019. It was a major embarrassment for President Erdogan, a bit like losing your ancestral home. So this time, he vowed to get him toppled. Erdogan himself led the campaign in Istanbul. And what happened? İmamoğlu secured more than 50% of the votes. He beat Erdogan's candidate by 1 million votes. Afterwards, he had this to say.
The nation itself gives the order and instructions, not just one person. Officials receive instructions from the nation. The period of one-man rule is over as of today. It is done. The republic and democracy are going full speed ahead from now on.
If you follow Turkey, all this may sound strange. They had presidential elections only last year and Erdogan won those easily. So what has changed in 9 months? Broadly speaking, just one thing, the economy. Turkish inflation reached 67% in February. It was a 15-month high. Now you may ask, wasn't inflation high last year during the presidential election? Well, it was. But back then, Erdogan was using his unorthodox economic policy. He stopped the central bank from hiking lending rates, so the effect of the inflation was not clear. But after the elections, he made a U-turn. He increased the interest rates to reduce inflation. Basically, Erdogan gave the bitter pill. So the voters punished him. Experts say most Erdogan supporters decided to stay home, so the turnout was just 76%, the lowest since 2004. And these results have also exposed a divide. Erdogan's party is now limited to rural Turkey. All the big cities were won by the opposition, including the big three, Istanbul, Ankara and Izmir. Which brings us to the big picture. What does it mean for President Erdogan and his Islamist politics? Well, for him, it's a setback. His presidential term will end in 2028. Erdogan is widely expected to retire by then. These results will only push him further in that direction. As for his politics, the answer is more complicated. A hardline Islamist party made inroads this time. It's called YRP. They got 6% of all votes. and they gained 2.8 million voters. This party is now the third biggest in Turkey. And what are its policies? Anti-LGBTQ, anti-vaccines, anti-West, and anti-NATO. So this party is more Islamist than Erdogan. It tells you how dangerous such leaders are. They may eventually leave or retire, but their ideology of hate will linger.